So what tech is on the horizon? I mean, there's so much tech on the horizon, right? How do we sort of differentiate between what's groundbreaking and really going to be disruptive, and I mean that in a positive way, what's going to disrupt the industry, versus what is sort of fringe, peripheral, really cool, trinkety type new stuff that really becomes a flash in the pan, and probably more often than not a distraction than something that's groundbreaking, right? So what is up and coming? I think there's two main things that are coming. First off, analytics. The growth of analytics is becoming ever more popular. And I think one of the main reasons is because of, not that we can accumulate data and analyze it, right? But we're able to glean insight from that data better now than ever before. And that, whether you're talking about certain detections, right, object left behind or gunshot or noise volume things or crowds and spaces. I mean, there's things like, in the day of COVID, there's things like thermal applications, body temperature, making congregation groups. There's, foot traffic patterns and things like that for ingress and egress. So there's so many cool things that you can gain from analytics that's above and beyond the historic LPR, license plate recognition, which is sort of standard fare for under that guise of analytics, like facial detection, kind of like old news a little bit, but being able to use this stuff and glean insights. That's when you start, when this fringe technology has an ROI and a real tangible benefit, that's when you start to see it becoming less of sort of a fringe application and more commoditized, where the function of this analysis becomes part of everyday business and operations. And the more we see that will continue to increase over time. I think the second piece is sort of, a carryover from our infrastructure program, right, that we spoke about a few moments ago. When you think about that trend from folks who are certified in life safety, right? They're certified in making sure cameras are giving the most view of an area that you're trying to to observe and to surveil. That's a specialization that's unique, right? When you start pulling in IT functions and networking and really complex, hyper-converged infrastructure and things like that, there's a degree where you have sort of a group of your IT integration partners who are going after those security, yet don't quite have the expertise in the life safety and things like that. Where on the flip side, you have, so our standard security integrator can sometimes perceive that as a threat. On the flip side, it's quite a big lift for people who spend a lot of time in life safety and all of those really things that are about security and safety, to then have to understand how virtual machines work, VMware certifications and things like that. So that is a trend I definitely see happening. The idea that we can scale virtually, we can leverage sort of that converged or hyper-converged infrastructure versus just standard bare metal at every edge location, right? So we'll see that trend, that consolidation and convergence. But I think the bigger trend is probably going to be the integrators marrying with the IT folks and seeing that atom smash a little bit. What's funny is tech on the horizon for visual media is not much unlike what we see in the surveillance. Remember, when you're talking about surveillance and you're talking about visual media and digital signage, what you're talking really about is visual data. One is receiving it and recording it and possibly viewing it. The other is pushing it out, right, for signage and menu boards and informational wayfinding, things like that. So what you see is the evolution of video handling and the ability to push much of that over IT, over category cable and things like that. That's where you see that kind of overlap. So from a trend, what you see again is analytics, right? So that the technology and the horizontal is sort of driving those markets. So that analysis piece, right, the analytics in a retail environment, you're also looking at egress and ingress, but you're doing it because you want to strategically place things in your aisles, right? Have a good consumer flow throughout your store. Very prescriptive advertising locations on end caps and things like that. So you're looking at those heat maps, you're just gleaning different insights from it, right? But still the technology's there. You're looking at that tracking, and there is a degree of safety there as well. But from a signage standpoint, you're also doing the facial recognition, recognition, right? For hospitality purposes, you go to a park and it recognizes you, or it scans an RFID of sorts, or things like that. So it's very similar. It's just different sides of the spectrum. But the technology growth is sort of driving both those markets, both individually and uniquely, but also in tandem with one another.